The Galactic Council underestimated Earth until Obama made them bow. Part 1. First Contact. The massive ships appeared on a Tuesday morning. They came without warning, 7 enormous vessels that blotted out sections of the sky over major cities across the globe. Each ship stretched nearly 2 miles long, their surfaces shimmering with an iridescent metal unknown to Earth science. In the Oval Office, President Barack Obama stood by the window, his normally calm demeanor showing small signs of strain. He loosened his tie slightly as he stared at the distant shape hovering over the Washington Monument. "Mr. President, the Joint Chiefs are assembled in the Situation Room," said Frank Miller, the Secretary of Defense. His voice was steady, but his knuckles were white as he gripped his tablet. Obama nodded. "And Dr. Green?" "She's waiting there." "Too, sir. She's been analyzing the data from NASA since the ships entered our atmosphere." As they walked briskly down the hallway, staff members hurried past with urgent expressions. The White House had become the center of humanity's response to the most significant event in human history. In the Situation Room, the tension was thick enough to cut with a knife. Military officers sat ramrod straight in their chairs while intelligence officials whispered urgently to one another. Dr. Olivia Green, the president's science advisor, stood by a large screen displaying the ship's positions around the globe. "What do we know?" Obama asked, taking his seat at the head of the table. Dr. Green stepped forward. She was a small woman with quick, intelligent eyes and prematurely gray hair. "They're positioned over Washington, Beijing, Moscow, London, New Delhi, Tokyo, and Rio de Janeiro. They've made no aggressive moves. Their technology is, well, it's beyond anything we've ever seen. They appear to be using some form of gravitational manipulation to maintain position." "Weapons capabilities?" asked General Porter, his weathered face grim. "Unknown, but we have to assume they're substantial," Frank answered. "Our most advanced jets look like toys next to these things." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity was facing something far beyond its technological reach. Obama leaned forward. "Have they attempted communication?" As if on cue, every screen in the room flickered. The NSA director's phone rang. He answered, listened briefly, then looked up with wide eyes. "Mr. President, they've hacked into every broadcast system on the planet simultaneously. They're requesting to speak with Earth's leaders." He swallowed hard. "They specifically asked for you by name." Murmurs broke out around the table. Obama raised a hand to quiet them. "How do they know who I am?" he asked Dr. Green. She shook her head. "They've likely been observing us for some time, sir. Long enough to understand our political structures." "Patch them through," Obama said firmly. The main screen flickered again, and an image appeared. The DR, being on screen, had a vaguely reptilian appearance with scaling that shifted colors as it moved. It stood upright on 2 legs, its 3-fingered hands clasped before it. Next to it stood a crystalline entity that seemed to pulse with inner light. President Barack Obama of the United States of America. The reptilian being spoke, its mouth, movements not matching the perfect English that filled the room. "I am Ambassador Zaxnar of the Galactic Council. This is Ambassador Lumfi. We represent a federation of 327 spacefaring species." Obama stood. "On behalf of Earth, I welcome you. Your arrival is unexpected but significant. To us, we hope for peaceful relations." The reptilian being made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Your welcome is noted, though unnecessary. We do not come seeking approval. The Galactic Council has monitored your planet for centuries. Now that you have developed rudimentary space travel and nuclear capabilities, protocols require official contact." The crystalline being, Lumfi, moved forward. When it spoke, its voice had a musical quality. "Your species has been classified as Level 2, intelligent but underdeveloped. You require supervision for your continued growth." Obama's expression remained diplomatic, but his eyes narrowed slightly. "Supervision?" Zaxnar nodded. "We will establish a governing outpost on your moon. Your technological development will be monitored and restricted where necessary. Space exploration beyond your solar system is forbidden until you demonstrate appropriate maturity. The room erupted in objections. General Porter half rose from his seat, his face red with anger. Obama raised a hand again and the room quieted. Ambassador, Obama said carefully, Earth is comprised of sovereign nations. We make our own decisions about our future. That is no longer the case, Zaxnar stated flatly. The Council's decision is final. We have observed your species' tendency toward violence and self-destruction. Your environmental damage to your own planet is evidence enough that you cannot manage yourselves properly. Dr. Green stepped forward. May I ask what criteria were used to determine our classification? Lumphis, crystalline structures shimmered. Your technological development is approximately 600 years behind the minimum council standard. Your social structures still rely heavily on artificial divisions of resources. You lack unified planetary governance. Most concerning is your development of weapons before achieving ecological balance. Obama maintained his composure. This is a lot for us to process. Earth's people will need time to understand what you're proposing. It is not a proposal, Zaxnar corrected. It is a directive. However, we understand the limitation of your neural processing speeds. You may have 48 of your hours to inform your population. We will return for your formal acknowledgement at that time. The screen went dark. For a moment, no one spoke. Then the room exploded into chaos. Mr. President, we need to mobilize immediately, began General Porter. Their technology level makes military response suicide, interrupted Frank. We need to contact the UN, get every nation on the same page, said the Secretary of State Obama. Raised both hands this time. Everyone take a breath. His voice was calm but commanding. The room quieted again. Dr. Green, what's your assessment? She frowned thoughtfully. Their technology is centuries beyond ours, but something doesn't add up. Their translation capabilities are remarkably precise. They've studied us very thoroughly. Obama nodded slowly. I noticed that too. He turned to the intelligence director. John, I want everything we can get on their ships. Energy readings, communication frequencies, biological data if possible. Use every resource we have. John Bell nodded grimly. Yes, sir. Obama looked around the table. We've been given 48 hours. Let's use them wisely. A determination settled in his eyes. The Galactic Council may think they know humanity, but they've clearly underestimated us. And that might be the one advantage we need. As the meeting disbanded, Obama remained standing at the head of the table, gazing at the now dark screen. The weight of not just a nation, but an entire planet now rested on his shoulders. Yet there was a slight, almost imperceptible smile on his face, the look of a chess player who had just spotted a potential move his opponent had missed. The game had just begun. The Galactic Council underestimated Earth until Obama made them bow. Part 2. The Hidden Advantage. The next 24 hours passed in a blur of activity. The world reacted to the news of alien contact with a mixture of fear, awe, and anger. Some people panicked and fled cities. Others gathered in prayer. Many stood in streets looking up at the massive ships hovering silently overhead. Within the secure underground levels beneath the White House, President Obama had assembled an unusual team. They sat around a large table covered with tablets, papers, and coffee cups. The air was stale from too many hours of continuous work. Tell me something they don't expect us to know, Obama said. Despite having been awake for nearly 30 hours, his mind remained sharp. Dr. Olivia Green pointed to a complex display of wave patterns on the main screen. Their universal translators gave us more information than they realized, she explained. Each time they spoke, the devices emitted subtle electromagnetic patterns. I believe these patterns reveal aspects of their neurological processing. In English, please, doctor, Frank Miller said, rubbing his tired eyes. They think differently than we do, she simplified. The reptilian species, the Zaxnar, process information in extremely linear patterns. They follow rules absolutely. The crystalline beings, The Lumfi think more abstractly but are highly sensitive to certain energy frequencies. Across the table, Kate Peterson from NASA nodded in agreement. She was a spacecraft systems analyst with bright eyes and a quick mind. And their ships have weaknesses, she added. The way they hover suggests they evolved in environments with different physical laws. They haven't fully adjusted to Earth-specific gravitational field and electromagnetic spectrum. Obama leaned forward with interest. Can we use that? Maybe, Kate replied. Their technology is still far beyond ours, but they might be vulnerable to certain frequencies or environmental conditions unique to Earth. The door opened, and John Bell entered with 3 new people. Mr. President, these are the specialists you requested. Obama stood to greet them. Commander Dwayne Scott was a Navy submarine tactical expert with dark skin and serious eyes. Professor Susan Turner was a linguistics specialist with graying hair and quick movements. Dr. Alan Wu was a quantum physicist who looked too young for his impressive credentials. Thank you all for coming, Obama said, gesturing for them to sit. We have less than 24 hours to find a way to negotiate with a vastly superior force that doesn't seem interested in negotiating. With respect, Mr. President, Commander Scott said, I've spent my career studying how to operate from positions of disadvantage. Sometimes the most powerful weapon is what the enemy doesn't know you have. And what do we have that they don't know about? Frank asked skeptically. Us, said a new voice from the doorway. A woman with olive skin and intense eyes entered the room. Maria Rodriguez, cultural anthropologist, she introduced herself. The aliens think they understand humans, but they've missed something fundamental about us. Obama nodded for her to continue. Human beings possess remarkable psychological flexibility, Maria explained, taking a seat. Throughout our history, we've faced extinction-level threats and adapted. Unlike many species, we function extremely well under pressure. We become more creative, not less. Susan Turner nodded enthusiastically. And their communication patterns suggest they don't understand this about us. They expect logic and fear to guide our responses. Obama's eyes lit up with understanding. They expect us to either submit out of fear or react with ineffective aggression. Exactly, Maria confirmed. But neither response is actually our greatest strength as a species. Alan Wu, who had been quietly analyzing data on a tablet, looked up. There's something else, he said. I've been reviewing the atmospheric readings from around their ships. They're subtly adjusting their environmental systems when they interact with us. Meaning what? Obama asked. They find something about Earth uncomfortable, Alan explained. I think it might be our water. Dr. Green's eyes widened. Of course. Earth's water contains trace elements and compounds that might be harmless to us but potentially disorienting to them. Obama stood up and paced the room slowly. So we have potential advantages. Their misunderstanding of human psychology, their slight physiological reaction to Earth's environment, and possible weaknesses in how their technology interacts with our planet. It's not much against their level of advancement, Frank said doubtfully. It's more than they think we have, Obama replied. And sometimes that's enough. He turned to face the team. Now here's what we're going to do. Hours later, as the deadline approached, Obama met with world leaders via secure video conference. The conversation was tense but productive. Chinese President Li, Russian President Petrov, and other key leaders all agreed to a unified response. For perhaps the first time in history, Earth spoke with one voice. When the final details were arranged, Obama called in his closest advisors. Are we really doing this? Frank asked, his expression showing both doubt and hope. Yes, Obama replied simply. The Galactic Council thinks they understand humanity based on our technology and our history, but they've missed something essential about us. Which is? Frank asked. Obama smiled slightly. We're at our best when we're underestimated. As the meeting ended, Dr. Green approached Obama privately. Mr. President, I've confirmed something important. The water hypothesis was correct, but it's more specific than we thought. A particular combination of minerals in our oceans creates a mild, disorienting effect on their nervous systems. Not enough to incapacitate them, but enough to subtly affect their decision-making. Can we amplify this effect without them noticing? Yes, she said confidently. We can create an environment that puts them at a slight disadvantage without being detected as deliberate. Obama nodded thoughtfully. Perfect. And the communication systems? Ready, John Bell confirmed, joining them. Every satellite, ground, station and transmission facility worldwide is prepared. If you give the word, we can broadcast on all frequencies the Galactic Council uses for internal communications. Let's hope we don't need to, Obama said. But if we do, it might be the most important broadcast in human history. As the deadline approached, the alien ships began moving into new positions around the globe. In Washington, D.C., the massive vessel descended lower, coming to hover directly over the National Mall. In the Oval Office, Obama straightened his tie and looked out at the intimidating ship. His expression was calm but determined. They think they're here to deliver terms, he said to Frank Miller, who stood beside him. But they don't realize they're about to enter negotiations. They said they weren't here to negotiate, Frank reminded him. Obama's eyes never left the ship. Then they shouldn't have given us time to think. As a bright light appeared beneath the alien vessel, the sign that they were ready to transport down, Obama took a deep breath. The next few hours would determine the fate of humanity. But unlike yesterday, today Earth had a plan. The Galactic Council underestimated Earth until Obama made them bow. Part 3. The counterplay. A beam of light touched down on the south lawn of the White House, and three figures materialized. Ambassador Zaxnar stood in front, his reptilian scales shifting from green to purple in the sunlight. Ambassador Lumphy's crystalline body sparkled beside him. A third alien, tall and gray with 6 limbs, stood slightly behind them. President Obama waited calmly with Frank Miller and Dr. Green at his side. Secret Service agents formed a protective perimeter, though their weapons would be useless against the aliens' technology. President Obama, Zaxnar said with a slight bow of his head, "We have returned for your formal acknowledgement of the Council's directives." Obama smiled warmly. "Welcome back to Earth, ambassadors. Before we proceed with formalities, I've arranged for us to continue our discussion at Camp David. It's a retreat where American presidents traditionally conduct our most important negotiations." Zaxnar's eyes narrowed. "I have made it clear, this is not a negotiation." "Of course," Obama replied smoothly. "Consider it a courtesy to explain our response properly. Our helicopters are ready to transport us." The crystalline Lumphy made a tinkling sound like glass wind chimes. "We have our own transportation methods." "I understand," Obama said. "But experiencing how humans travel might help you better understand our species. I believe that's part of the Council's mission, isn't it? To understand developing species?" The aliens exchanged glances. The 6-limbed gray one made a series of clicking sounds. "Very well," Zaxnar said finally. "We will observe your transportation methods." 30 minutes later, 3 black helicopters landed at Camp David. The presidential retreat had been transformed overnight. The main conference building now contained subtle environmental modifications based on Dr. Green's specifications. The lighting, sound dampening, and even the mineral content in the air had been carefully calibrated. As they entered the main conference room, Obama noted with satisfaction how the crystalline Lumphy's glow dimmed slightly. The reptilian Zaxnar's movements became marginally slower. The changes were barely noticeable, but they were real. "Please be seated," Obama said, gesturing to specially prepared chairs that would accommodate the aliens' bodies. "We've prepared refreshments appropriate for your biological needs." The gray alien spoke for the first time, its voice sounding like rustling leaves. "Your preparations are unexpected." "We aim to be good hosts," Obama replied. "Now, let me introduce you to a few of my advisors who will be joining us." Susan Turner, Dwayne Scott, and Maria Rodriguez entered the room. Each carried tablets and took seats at the conference table. John Bell remained in a separate room, monitoring the communication systems. "I'll be direct," Obama began. The Galactic Council's classification of Earth as a Level 2 species requiring supervision is flawed. According to Article 17 of the Galactic Charter established 40,000 years ago by the founding members, species classification requires a comprehensive evaluation period. Zaxnar's scales darkened with surprise. You cannot possibly know about the Charter, Obama finished for him. Actually, we do. You see, Earth has been visited before, many times throughout our history. Some of those visitors left records we've decoded. Obama nodded to Susan, who displayed ancient cave paintings on the main screen. The images showed unmistakable depictions of non-human beings and symbols that match those on the aliens' uniforms. These are from 15,000 years ago, Susan explained, and they contain mathematical sequences that match the Galactic Standard Measurement System. The reptilian ambassador's tail twitched nervously. Impossible. Previous contact would have been recorded in council archives. Unless those contacts were unauthorized, Obama suggested, or perhaps they were authorized but the records were selectively maintained. The crystalline lumfi vibrated in a way that suggested agitation. What are you implying, President Obama? I'm not implying anything, I'm stating facts. Earth qualifies as a legacy species under Section 5 of the Charter. We have evidence of previous contact, which grants us special consideration and developmental autonomy. The gray alien stepped forward. This is absurd. You cannot possibly understand the complexities of galactic law. Obama smiled. Perhaps not fully, but we understand enough to know that the Council cannot legally classify Earth without a formal evaluation conducted by neutral observer species, and we understand that your directive to establish a governing outpost without consent violates at least 7 provisions of the Sentience Protection Protocols. The aliens whispered among themselves in their own languages. The atmosphere in the room had shifted. What they had expected to be a simple formality was becoming something very different. Obama continued, his voice measured and confident. Furthermore, we've analyzed your ship's energy signatures. They show distinctive patterns of the Proxian Confederacy, a group expelled from the Council 3,000 years ago for illegal technological appropriation. Interesting that you're still using their designs. This was a calculated bluff based on Kate Peterson's analysis, but from the aliens' reaction it had hit close to a truth. Zaxnar's scales now pulsed with angry red patterns. Your ignorance exceeds your audacity, human. The Council's authority spans 12,000 star systems. Your primitive understanding is sufficient to recognize when we're being misled. Obama interrupted calmly. Here is Earth's position. We reject classification as a Level 2 species. We invoke our rights as a legacy species. We demand a formal evaluation by neutral parties before any further action. You are in no position to make demands, Lumphy said, its crystalline structure emitting sharp flashes of light. Obama leaned forward. We are prepared to present our case to the full Council, unless, of course, you'd prefer to resolve this matter privately. The full Council will not concern itself with a single developing world, the gray alien stated dismissively. They might, Obama replied, if they knew you were violating your own charter, or if they discovered you were selectively applying regulations to potentially valuable resource worlds. He nodded to Maria Rodriguez, who pushed a button on her tablet. A holographic map appeared, showing Earth's solar system with peculiar energy, readings around several planets. Your ships have been conducting detailed scans of our system's resources, Maria explained, particularly focused on rare isotopes and elements. Elements that, according to our information, are valuable commodities in certain Council regions. The aliens stared at the display in shock. This meeting is over, Zaxnar declared, standing abruptly. Before you go, Obama said, his finger hovering over a button on the table, you should know that this entire conversation has been broadcast across all standard Galactic Council communication frequencies. 327 species are currently listening to us discuss how you've attempted to circumvent Council law. It was another bluff, but a precisely targeted one. John Bell had indeed prepared broadcasting capabilities, but hadn't activated them yet. The gray alien made a strangled sound. You cannot access those frequencies. Obama smiled. Yet here we are. Now perhaps we should start over. Earth is prepared to join the galactic community as equals, not subjects. We propose full membership with a 50-year development plan instead of supervision. The aliens huddled together, speaking rapidly in their own languages. Their confidence had crumbled, replaced by uncertainty and alarm. When they turned back to face Obama, it was clear the dynamic had fundamentally changed. Earth was no longer a passive recipient of terms. For the first time since their arrival, the Galactic Council representatives looked genuinely worried. "We will consult with the council leadership," Zaxnar said stiffly. Obama nodded graciously. "Of course. We'll be here when you return." As the aliens departed in a flash of light, Frank Miller leaned close to Obama. "Did we actually just negotiate with them?" "No," Obama replied with a slight smile. "We just changed the game, and now they know it." The Galactic Council underestimated Earth until Obama made them bow. Part 4. The Reckoning. 3 days later, chaos erupted across the Galactic Council. The news of Earth's confrontation had spread rapidly through communication channels. More, progressive member species demanded explanations. Some questioned why Earth had been approached with supervision directives rather than standard first contact protocols. On Earth, Obama gathered with world leaders at the United Nations in New York. The building was surrounded by the curious and the concerned, humans who sensed history in the making. "What happens if they don't return?" asked the German chancellor. "They'll return," Obama said confidently. "We've created too much noise for them to ignore." The Chinese president nodded in agreement. "Our scientists report unusual activity among their ships. They appear to be receiving new arrivals." Right on cue, the UN Secretary General's phone rang. "Mr. President," he said after a brief conversation, "they're requesting a meeting, but not with just you this time, with Earth's collective leadership." Obama smiled. "Progress already." 2 hours later, Earth's leaders gathered in the General Assembly Hall. The usual podium had been replaced with a large round table. Obama sat between the Chinese president and the Russian president. Other world leaders filled the remaining seats. A flash of light filled the center of the hall. When it faded, 2 new aliens stood there. The first was an ancient-looking being with pale blue skin that seemed nearly transparent. It moved with deliberate slowness, supported by what appeared to be a floating chair. Beside it hovered a creature that was difficult to look at directly. Its form seemed to shift and change constantly, like smoke given semi-solid form. "I am Lordath," said the ancient blue being, its voice surprisingly strong. "I serve as senior arbiter of the Galactic Council. This is Vish, representing the Council's Oversight Committee." The smoke-like being made no sound but seemed to bow. Slightly. "We welcome you to Earth," Obama replied, standing respectfully. "I speak today not just as President of the United States, but as one voice among equals representing humanity." The Lordath studied the assembled leaders with eyes that had witnessed thousands of years of galactic history. "Your species has created quite a stir in council chambers," it said finally. "Many questions have been raised about the initial contact procedures used with Earth." "We have questions as well," said the Indian Prime Minister, "beginning with why Earth was classified without proper evaluation." The Lordath raised a long-fingered hand. "That matter is under review. The representatives who made initial contact have been recalled for questioning." It paused, then added, "They seemed quite shaken by their interactions with you." Several world leaders exchanged glances. Obama kept his expression neutral. "I must know," the Lordath continued. "How did you access information about council protocols? Our records show no previous official contact with Earth." "Perhaps your records are incomplete," Obama suggested. "Or perhaps humans are simply good at finding patterns and making educated guesses." The smoke-like Vish shifted forms rapidly, producing a series of musical tones. The Lordath nodded as if in understanding. "Vish suggests that your species possesses unusual intuitive capabilities," the Lordath translated. This aligns with certain theories about humans that have circulated within scientific circles of the Council. Obama leaned forward. What theories would those be? The ancient alien seemed to hesitate before answering. I will be direct, as you humans appear to value directness. Your species was not classified as level 2 because of technological limitations. A murmur ran through the assembled leaders. You were classified as potentially dangerous because of your unprecedented adaptability, the Lordath continued. Several advanced council species ran simulations showing humans evolving to potentially dominate the galaxy within 1,000 years if left unchecked. The Russian president stood up angrily. So you decided to hold us back? To stunt our development? The council feared what humans might become, the Lordath admitted. Your species develops differently than any we have encountered. You advance, not in the steady, predictable patterns of most intelligent life, but in rapid, unpredictable leaps. Your ability to adapt to challenges defies standard evolutionary models. And that frightened you, Obama said. It wasn't a question. Yes, the ancient alien acknowledged, particularly after observing your historical pattern of conflict followed by remarkable technological advancement. Your world wars led to nuclear power, spaceflight, and computing technologies in mere decades. No other known species has developed so rapidly under pressure. The smoky Vish produced more musical tones. Vish notes that your response to our representatives demonstrated this adaptability, the Lordath translated. You found leverage where none should have existed. You intuited aspects of galactic law from minimal information. Obama stood and walked slowly around the table. Humanity has a violent history, he acknowledged. We've made terrible mistakes, but we've also shown remarkable capacity for growth, cooperation, and ethical evolution. He gestured to the assembled world leaders. Look around this room. Nations that were bitter enemies now work together on global challenges. We're learning to overcome our divisions. Learning, the Lordath repeated, but not yet succeeded. Your world still suffers from poverty, inequality, and conflict. We're a work in progress, Obama admitted. But isn't every species, even those on the council? The Lordath was silent for a moment. A fair point, it conceded finally. Let me propose a new arrangement, Obama said. Earth remains independent while receiving limited technological exchange and observer status within the Council. We continue our development with guidance rather than supervision. And why should the Council agree to this? The Lordath asked. Obama smiled. Because humanity has much to offer the galaxy. Our adaptability, our creativity, our diverse perspectives, these could be valuable to the Council, not threats to it. The Vish shifted forms again, this time settling into something resembling a spiraling galaxy. Its musical tones seemed almost approving. Vish agrees with you, the Lordath said, sounding surprised. This is unusual. Vish seldom agrees with newly contacted species. Perhaps that tells you something about our potential, Obama suggested. The ancient alien studied Obama for a long moment. You have raised significant questions about our approach to Earth. The full council will need to debate this matter. Understand, Obama replied. But while that debate occurs, we expect all council ships to maintain a respectful distance from our world. No scanning, no interference with our activities. The Lordath appeared to smile, though it was hard to be certain with its alien features. You continue to negotiate as if from a position of strength, despite your technological limitations. Fascinating. We negotiate from a position of principle, Obama corrected gently, and principles can be more powerful than technology. The ancient alien rose from its floating chair with surprising grace. The Council will render its decision within one of your Earth months. Until then, we will respect your independence. In a flash of light, the aliens vanished. The UN hall erupted in excited conversation. World leaders congratulated each other, and Obama. For the first time since the massive ships had appeared, hope replaced fear. As Obama made his way through the crowd, Dr. Green caught up with him. They were telling the truth, she said quietly, about the simulations predicting our dominance. I ran similar models using the data we've gathered from their ships. Humans really do adapt at rates that defy standard evolutionary patterns. Obama nodded thoughtfully. Then we need to make sure we adapt in the right direction. What happens now? She asked. Now, Obama said, looking around at the united leaders of Earth, we prepare for our place among the stars. The Galactic Council underestimated Earth until Obama made them bow. Part 5. The New Galactic Order 5 years passed. Earth had changed in ways few could have imagined before the arrival of the Galactic Council ships. On a newly established colony, on an exoplanet named New Horizon, Barack Obama stood looking out at an alien sunset. 2 moons were rising on the horizon, casting dual shadows across the landscape. The settlement behind him buzzed with activity as humans and a handful of alien species worked together, establishing the first human outpost beyond the solar system. Ambassador Obama called Kate Peterson, now director of the Earth Council Technology Exchange Program. The council representatives have arrived for the inauguration ceremony. Obama turned from the view, straightening his formal diplomatic attire. After his presidency had ended, he had accepted the role of Earth's first ambassador to the Galactic Council. The position suited him perfectly. "How are our guests finding the gravity?" he asked, walking alongside Kate toward the main settlement dome. "The Zaxnar delegation is using mobility assistance. They find our standard gravity a bit heavy," she replied with a slight smile. "But they made a point of refusing special accommodations. I think they're trying to impress us." Obama nodded thoughtfully. "They've come a long way from trying to supervise us to trying to impress us. Progress." The settlement's main dome contained a large gathering hall. Humans mingled with various alien species. Council technology had made it possible to create environments where different biological needs could be accommodated in shared spaces. In one corner, Dr. Olivia Green was deep, in conversation with a crystalline Lumphi scientist. They were discussing a new theorem that combined Earth mathematics with alien concepts. At the center of the room stood a holographic display showing New Horizon from orbit. The planet was a perfect balance of Earth-like conditions while still maintaining its unique alien ecology. The colony represented humanity's first step into the wider galaxy. A hush fell over the crowd as Obama entered. He made his way to the podium, exchanging greetings with various dignitaries. The council had sent representatives from 12 species for this historic occasion. 5 years ago, Obama began, massive ships appeared over Earth. They came to classify us, to supervise us, to contain what they feared we might become. He paused, looking around the diverse gathering. Today we stand as equals among the stars. New Horizon is not just a human colony, but a symbol of a new approach to galactic cooperation. Among the audience, the ancient Lordath nodded slowly, in agreement. The Arbiter had become one of Earth's strongest advocates in council chambers. The Obama Doctrine is now studied throughout council space. Obama continued with characteristic humility. Not because of me, but because it represents a principle that transcends species. That diversity of thought and approach strengthens us all. That different evolutionary paths offer unique perspectives, and that cooperation achieves more than control. The Lordath floated forward. "Ambassador Obama speaks truth," it said, its voice carrying through the hall. "For eons, the Council sought uniformity in development. We expected all intelligent species to follow predictable patterns. Humans challenged this assumption." The ancient alien made a gesture of respect. "In doing so, you have changed the Council itself." This was true. In the years since first contact, dozens of previously marginalized species had gained new standing in Council decisions. The strict hierarchy was giving way to a more collaborative approach. "But our journey is just beginning," Obama said. "Earth still faces challenges. Our unity, forged in the crisis of first contact, requires constant work to maintain. And we have much to learn from the thousands of years of galactic history now available to us." From the back of the hall, a tall gray alien stepped forward, the same 6-limbed being who had accompanied the original delegation to Earth. Now serving as a cultural liaison, it had spent years studying human societies. What impresses us most, it said, is not your technology or even your adaptability, but your capacity for ethical evolution. You recognize your flaws openly and strive to overcome them. This is rare among intelligent species. Obama smiled. We've had good teachers in our own history, and now we have more teachers among the stars. The ceremony continued with the formal recognition of New Horizon as a full member world of the Galactic Council. As part of the proceedings, a new class of human ships was unveiled. Vessels designed with both human ingenuity and alien technology. They were smaller than the massive Council ships, but incorporated unique features that reflected humanity's approach to space exploration. Later, at a quieter gathering, Obama stood with Frank Miller, who now served as Earth's defense coordinator. "Did you ever think we'd get here?" Frank asked, looking out at the alien landscape. "I hoped," Obama replied, "but I couldn't have predicted the path." "You know," Frank said, lowering his voice, "some people think the whole thing was a test, that the Council never intended to supervise us, that they were evaluating our response to pressure." Obama smiled cryptically. "The Lordath hinted as much to me last year. Apparently the Council has procedures for testing potentially exceptional species. Most fail, either by surrendering too easily or reacting with self-destructive aggression. And we passed by finding a third option," Frank concluded. "We passed by being human," Obama corrected. "By using our unique strengths, our adaptability, our creativity, our ability to understand others' perspectives and find unexpected solutions." Dr. Green joined them, now wearing the insignia of Earth's Scientific Exchange Director. "The Council scientists still can't explain why humans developed so differently from other intelligent species," she said. "Some believe it was our planet's unusual history of extinction events and climate shifts. Others think it might be something in our genetic code." "Does it matter?" Obama asked. "I suppose not," she conceded. "What matters is what we do with our unique capabilities." As the celebration continued into the night, Obama found a moment of solitude on an observation platform. The twin moons of New Horizon cast their light over the landscape, and in the distance he could see the lights of research outposts where humans and aliens worked together studying the planet's ecosystem. Above, the stars shone in unfamiliar patterns. Somewhere up there, Council ships that once came to contain humanity now provided protection and transportation. Species that once feared human potential now sought human perspectives. Obama thought about the long journey from that tense first meeting in the Oval Office to this moment, humanity's first foothold among the stars. The Galactic Council had indeed underestimated Earth, but in doing so, they had helped humanity find its place in the cosmos. As if reading his thoughts, the Lordath appeared beside him. "You are contemplating the journey," the ancient being observed. "And the future," Obama added. "A future brighter than any of us anticipated," the Lordath said. "The simulations that once predicted human dominance failed to account for something essential about your species." "What's that?" Obama asked. "That given the choice between domination and cooperation, humans are capable of choosing the latter." The ancient alien made a gesture that conveyed profound respect. "That, Ambassador Obama, is why the galaxy will never be the same." Obama smiled. As a new day dawned on New Horizon, humanity's future among the stars had never looked brighter.